What's up, everybody? Welcome back to your favorite New York Jets subscription podcast, Badlands. I'm your host, Joe Caporoso, joined as always by Aaron Rodgers. Minicamp is in full swing. We're talking minicamp. We're talking Aaron Rodgers week one. We're talking a few other topics. Then we're jumping over to record War Room. Connor, terrific cat. How you doing? How you feeling?
Good, man. Summertime. We got it felt so uneventful, the Rodgers news, because we've just been
Inevitable.
waiting. Yeah, the inevitable. Exactly right. So you see the first clip of him out there in, Steelers practice. You're going to get the quotes. The funny thing is he can't even do something like marriage in a normal fashion, right?
Yeah.
It has to be this big mystery and this big surprise.
That would have been the headline story of Jets minicamp today. Aaron Rodgers got married. Instead, it's Justin Fields throwing passes to Josh Reynolds over the middle.
I think you just nailed it. And I think that's a conversation of today's podcast, right? Like on, personal life and downtime of the year, I'm doing great. On Jets side of it, it's just so nice how boringly normal everything is right now, where obviously there's good little tidbits of good news, everyone being there, especially when Sauce and Garrett are in an interesting contract situation. I don't think they're in a dire contract situation like some league-wide items like James Cook with the Bills and everything going on with the Bengals, but it just seems it's all about football right now. Yep. And I think, that was Glenn's whole point. And we keep saying on the podcast, Glenn is either going to end up right or wrong on the Rodgers decision, or honestly somewhere in the middle. There's a world where the Jets just aren't very good this year, and there's a world where Rodgers still isn't good anyway. Yeah. And that's that. And then actually that kind of proves Glenn right, because you wouldn't want to be bad with a bad Aaron Rodgers and the stuff that comes with him and the money that'll be owed to him in the future. You'd rather just be bad without that, building towards something. But somebody's got to be right. But it's just nice, Joe, that it's boringly normal right now.
Listen, the only flare-ups we get is Glenn being snippy with Rich Samini in press conferences.
Every presser?
Every presser. Good-hearted fun.
If you're Rich, you got to be sitting there like, is it me? Like, I don't know what's going on here.
Minicamp has been chill. I'm happy everyone's there. I feel like Fields, from what we're seeing and hearing, is doing well, which is
robot
what you like
quarterback.
To see. Yeah, there's no news, and there really shouldn't be any major news for a bit. Doesn't seem like there's any real injuries to flare up. Jermaine Johnson's injury timeline, like what we expected. He'll probably start camp on the PUP list. Hopefully he's ready for week one. I don't think he's 100% until like week 6 or week 7, but sounds like he'll be available week one, and that'll be a nice emotional boost, and then obviously an on-the-field boost for the defense. So let's talk about the Rodgers stuff, right? Of course, the Jets are playing the Steelers week one. Fortunately, it's a 1 p.m. home game. No prime time. We don't have to deal with the whole prime time thing again. I'm going to go. I think MetLife is going to be pandemonium. And the sense I get is Aaron Rodgers is going to get the absolute shit boot out of him. And this is sports, right? You're going to expect Jet fans to be booing and bitter about how the last couple of years went. Even if you're like, look, Rodgers, he didn't do anything wrong. We get why the Jets made the move. We supported the move. I didn't love everything Rodgers did while he was here. It's not his fault he got hurt. I didn't like how he went on McAfee and kind of trashed Aaron Glenn, and I think you guys did a nice job in the post-pod reaction to that, expressing our feelings. I hope the Jets kick the crap out of him, and I think this game is going to be, we're going to have so much time to talk about it, ugly, low scoring.
Right.
I think playing an old quarterback who missed the whole offseason, week one, is objectively a good thing. I don't think Rodgers is going to hit his stride with Arthur Smith and DK Metcalf and kind of the rest of the like random pieces the Steelers have probably until like the middle of the year. I do worry about Mike Tomlin and the defensive staff having all summer to prepare for Justin Fields. So my thought is like this game is going to be like 9-6 in the second half, and it's not going to be these fireworks everywhere. And I think as a Jet fan, you're excited in one sense because it's going to be a real interesting opportunity for Aaron Glenn and Steve Wilks in this defense out of the gate. You have like the right time for a home kickoff without dealing with all the crap that comes with a Monday night game or a Sunday night game or a Thursday night game. And on the other hand, I'm sure you're worried because the Jets have not done well in these kind of circumstances during the drought, right? It goes all the way back to how awesome is it to play the Giants on Christmas Eve to make the playoffs? And they lose, and the Rex Ryan era effectively ends. And they've had these other like cool potential revenge game moments, even against Rex again at the end of 2015, and they lost to Rex. And then you had your big debut, of Rodgers, and we know what happened in both of those openers. So these haven't always historically went well for the Jets. None of that means anything in the vacuum of the matchup. I think like on paper, Jets Steelers rosters are kind of comparable. I believe the reality that Pittsburgh probably wanted Fields back or Stafford back before they had to resort to Rodgers. And I think this is just going to be a close, ugly game that honestly, it could break either way. And trust me, I badly want the Jets to win. I don't want to walk out of there losing 20-3 to Aaron Rodgers. It's not going to determine how the whole season plays out. But what are your early thoughts on this matchup and what Rodgers with Arthur Smith and Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh is going to look like?
Well, it feels, number one, just like a classic 16-13 game either way.
Coming down to Anders Carlson.
I'm sure I could probably look this up in a second that spreads are already live since Rodgers signed. I would guess this launches at 4.5 in favor of the Steelers, though they're on the road. I just think it's the Steelers have a good defense, and it's the unknown with the Jets right now.
First-time head coach.
And I don't know if I would set it giving the Steelers 4.5 points. I actually wouldn't. I would take the Jets to cover that. Like you said, first-time head coach. It's just that, Vegas is telling us they don't like the Jets this year. They have one of the lowest win totals. And I think if you're a Jets fan right now, and maybe this is, looking a little too far into the weeds ahead, but you want TJ Watt and the Steelers drama to really crank up right now. That's right at the top of the list. He didn't report to mandatory minicamp, so that is something that is not getting better at the moment right now, and is a really big deal for the Steelers. You would think it gets done, but that's a huge part of that game, and it'll be a big test for the Jets tackles, so the young tackle duo. The Rodgers side of it, I agree with you. I think majority will boo. I do think there's still this, I don't want to say weird because people could feel how they feel. I'm just surprised by it. I still think there's a sliver of the fan base that really wanted him back and is like, they have the weird, like, I hope he sticks it to them. I don't get it because Rodgers wasn't very good here and the Jets gave him everything he could ever want. And honestly, I would be generally pretty neutral towards Rodgers until he completely destroyed Aaron Glenn publicly. That was when I think it turned where, and if I'm the Jets, and Aaron Glenn is not going to make this game about him, but somebody in that building needs to make it about him because he's just not that type of guy. He's looking at it as, I want the team prepared. I want us focused. He's not going to sit there and be like, go win this for me. But if you're in the locker room or you're a position coach, you're sitting there and you're going, like, somebody has to tell the team, hey, this guy publicly trashed our head coach, publicly destroyed him. You better go out there and make a statement and not get embarrassed by him. And we know what this game is going to be like, as much as we don't know schematically, because a lot of people are making assumptions with Glenn and Wilkes, which is kind of funny because they're two different defensive coaches. So you can't make one assumption. You got to see how they kind of blend together. I think that it's pretty obvious the Jets are going to be cranking the heat up in this game, and Rodgers is going to have to beat the blitz. And the last time, the majority of time we saw him in a Jets uniform, he didn't move too well. And the majority of time in the Jets uniform, he didn't really beat man coverage at a high level. So if you're the Jets, I would come out there and say, we're going to blitz you and we're going to play man coverage until you show us, that it's not going to work.
You know who played well against DK Metcalf last year in man coverage? Mr. Sauce Gardner. That's your game right here.
The matchups, obviously you can make this argument for the Steelers defense against the Jets offense as well. The matchups, though, are like, you should like this if you're the Jets. You should like Sauce Gardner up against DK Metcalf. You should like your pass rushers. Will McDonald destroyed this offensive line. I can't explain that enough. And there's a tape breakdown on the Badlands feed if you missed it of Will McDonald. I recapped this season. I mean, he destroyed the Steelers defensive line. The Jets didn't tackle particularly well in that game, but McDonald, obviously Quinnen, and just the fact that Rodgers can't really move. The Jets, it feels like, as long as we've been alive, Joe, are just terrible against mobile quarterbacks.
Yes.
This one, like, you're going to be able to tee off on him if you want. So I think that it's I don't under if anyone is out there like puffing their chest for a Rodgers revenge tour, I have no idea what planet you live in. I really don't. I really don't know what planet you live in. If there is this game is going to be about Aaron Rodgers because everything is just always about Aaron Rodgers wherever he goes. And that's not just the media. Like he does that to himself as well. I'm very curious to watch how the Jets approach because we know what the Jets approach is going to be. It's going to be all about the game. It's going to be all about the team. That's Aaron Glenn to a T. And the players they brought here mesh with that. Justin Fields, I call him robot quarterback because that's how he is. Everything is about the game and the team. The new players, and I think the players that were already on the roster are conforming to that pretty quickly. Glenn had an interesting quote at the podium, like kind of thanking the previous. He didn't directly say front office or coaching staff. He just said the people that were here before us because they like a lot of the players. They're already here. The Jets have talent, and they're going to approach this as another game. But when you step on the field, I don't think it'll be another game. I think these guys didn't come out publicly, but there was people in the Jets building, and plenty of them, that were not everything is all sunshine and rainbows with Aaron Rodgers. A lot of people were burnt out by the end of that regime. And it once again, if he went out quietly and just went on to his new team, hey, good luck, good for you. Hope your career ends up just fine on the way out, right into the sunset. It didn't. He chose the path of fire and resistance as he does, and destroyed Glenn through the media. And now the best part of this beautiful sport is you get to solve it all on the field for 4 quarters.
Could we get some week 2 2009 energy in that building
Show
from the Jets
fire.
crowd? Like it should be, should be loud. There's no reason not to be excited. It should be nice, God willing, not a rainy day.
You gonna go?
I'm going.
You are going. I don't say this often because there hasn't been a lot of reasons for this, and the job I do is just easier the way we do it. This is one time I really, really will have that FOMO of not being in the stadium.
Yeah, once this was confirmed, I was like, you know what? It's September. It's 1:00. It's going to be an awesome environment. I'm going to go. We're going to do something from a Badlands tailgate POV. We have to take it one event at a time. As a reminder, badlandstoj.com, August 23rd, live show, Stout, Budweiser, a few other sponsors we're excited to announce. Me and CR, it's day 1 of the week 1 preview. It's the day after the last preseason game. So it's just going to start. It's going to be us starting to get ready for that game and doing it in the building with everyone. Then we're on to tailgate. Then we're on to London, and then we'll see where we're out from there. But one thing at a time. I'm going to go. It's going to be exciting. I do think, again, like the matchup is not terrible for the Jets. Part of what I was talking about in the pod this morning is understandably people are frustrated to see the Jets ranked like 29th or 30th in most power rankings. And the reality for the Jets is I would say there's like 3 or 4 teams I think they're definitively better than. It's like the Saints, the Titans, maybe the Browns. Then there's like these like 7 or 8 other teams that it could go either way. And the Steelers, of course, are going to get the benefit of the doubt. They make the playoffs every year. They have a really good, proven Hall of Fame coach. They also have a lot of flaws and issues. Like who's their number 2 receiver? Who's their lead running back? Who's their offensive coordinator? But we know they're going to be coached and we know they're going to be prepared. But from a pure talent POV, this is not a terrible matchup. And if the Jets are going to be a 500-ish team, winning this game at home is the kind of game you want to see them win and come out and play physical and do all the stuff you just talked about from a matchup POV with Will McDonald on Broderick Jones, with Sauce Gardner on DK Metcalf, with Wilkes calling an aggressive game. And then offensively, do I expect Justin Fields to come out and throw for 300 yards on Pittsburgh's secondary? No. Do I want to see the Jets come out and try to run the hell out of the football in a unique way that sets Field up for success and take their shots where it makes sense? Yeah, it's going to be an interesting test for Tanner Engstrom. First game he's going to be calling too. So that skepticism is going to be there because it's a first time for Glenn. It's a first time for Engstrom. Like these are big steps for these guys, but you're not playing the Chiefs or the Eagles week 1. You're playing a team who's 8-9 or 9-8 every year and this is a desperate move. The Jets were desperate too when they got Rodgers. Conforming to Rodgers' timeline and bringing him in June, that shows how desperate the Steelers were at the quarterback situation. And it might pan off for them. I would say overall, like, I expect Rodgers to be okay. I think they'll be an 8-9 or 9-8 team again, like they are every year under Tomlin. I don't think the difference from Russ to him is going to be all that much. And I think this will be the last year Rodgers plays. And once he gets past the Jets game, Am I going to be maliciously rooting against Pittsburgh every week? It's not going to be top of mind. I'm going to be rooting more against New England and Buffalo and Miami because, it's AFC East. But the Jets theoretically could be completing with Pittsburgh for wild card spots. So sure, I will be, rooting against them in that capacity. But I want to shift the focus again back to the current team. The nuggets that I've been able to pick up so far is I kind of feel good about my prediction that Josh Reynolds is going to be the number 2 receiver. I feel like
look that way.
I feel like he's going to be out there. I don't know how that works with him and Lazard. Maybe they split it. I'm yet to hear or see anything about Malachi Corley to think a leap's coming. I remain really interested in seeing how and where they deploy Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis behind Brees. It feels like Membo's got the job. They're not going to do any weirdness there. I think the Tippmann stuff goes away. Should I be worried about the Mason Taylor contract situation? It's kind of lagged a little bit, and he's going to be a key part of this offense. Like, he's going to probably be third on the team in targets. I've already had Glenn praising his blocking. He's going to start day one. Is that a thing to be worried about? And more broadly for the Jets offense, like, what are some thoughts you have coming out of OTAs and early minicamp